Envy is not proof that you are small. It is proof that something in you is still alive. That does not make envy noble. It can become bitter, cruel, and corrosive when it stays unconscious. But at its root, envy is often a flare from the exiled self. It points toward a life, a voice, a confidence, a freedom, or a permission you learn to deny yourself. The person you envy may not be your enemy. They may be carrying a clue. And the part of you that judges them may be protecting the part of you that wants what they have. By the end of this video, you will understand why envy forms, why it often hides beneath criticism, and how to use it without letting it poison you. You will see the difference between destructive comparison and honest desire. You will understand why the people who irritate you most may reveal the traits you were taught to excel. And you will get a practice for turning envy into information instead of shame. Imagine scrolling late at night. You see someone doing something you secretly want. They are speaking with confidence, building something visible, being loved openly, taking up space, resting without apologizing. They seem free in a way that touches a nerve. At first, the feeling is sharp. Then the mind protects you from wanting. It turns desire into judgment. Who do they think they are? They are not that special. They probably had help. They are fake. They are lucky. They are too much. Now the envy has a costume. It feels like discernment. It feels like accuracy. But underneath the criticism, something hurts. Not because they have a life and you do not. Because some part of you recognizes a possibility you have not allowed yourself to approach. Envy often forms where desire was punished, mocked, or made unsafe. Maybe you learned not to want attention. Maybe ambition was called arrogance. Maybe beauty was treated as vanity. Maybe rest was called laziness. Maybe anger was dangerous. Maybe joy was suspicious. So the psyche made a bargain. If I cannot safely want this, I will reject it. That is how envy becomes shadow material. The desire does not disappear. It goes underground. Then when someone else expresses it, your nervous system reacts as if they have broken a rule you are still obeying. The envied person becomes the offender, but the real conflict is inside you. One part wants permission. Another part is terrified of what permission might cost. So the mind chooses criticism, because criticism feels safer than longing. This is why envy can be so humiliating. It exposes the places where your life has become too small for your own soul. It shows you the door you keep pretending is a wall. But envy becomes dangerous when you make the other person carry your unlived life. If you attack, diminish, copy, or obsess, you stay bound to them. You do not reclaim the desire. You just orbit the person who activated it. Integration begins when you stop asking, what is wrong with them? And start asking, what part of me did they awaken? Here is the part most people avoid. Envy is not always about wanting exactly what someone has. Sometimes you envy the permission they seem to have given themselves. You may not want their job. You may want their boldness. You may not want their relationship. You may want their softness. You may not want their appearance. You may want the way they inhabit their body without apology. You may not want their audience. You may want the freedom to speak. This distinction matters because envy can become a compass only when you translate it. Raw envy says, I want that. Integrated envy asks, what quality is this pointing toward? The practice is called the envy translation. Think of one person you envy or criticize with unusual intensity. Write their name privately. Then write 3 sentences. First, what do I judge in them? Second, what do they seem allowed to have, be, or express? Third, where have I denied myself some version of that? Do not make this polite. If you envy their confidence, say so. If you envy their visibility, say so. If you envy their ease, their beauty, their money, their freedom, their desirability, say so. Shame feeds on vagueness. Integration begins with accuracy. Then ask the most important question. What is one clean, non-destructive way I can move 1 inch toward the quality I envy? Not steal their life. Not become a copy. Not punish them for touching the wound. 1 inch. Speak more clearly. Rest without explaining. Share 1 piece of work. Admit 1 desire. Wear what you want. Ask for what you need. Let yourself be seen in a place where hiding has become automatic. Envy does not have to make you cruel. It can make you honest. But only if you stop using judgment to avoid longing. There is another layer here. Sometimes you envy someone not because they are doing something you want to do forever, but because they are violating a rule you still live under. They are being loud while you are still trying to be acceptable. They are asking for money while you are still proving you are generous. They are resting while you are still earning the right to stop. This is why envy can feel moral. The rule inside you says they should not be allowed to do that. But the deeper truth may be, I wish I believed I was allowed to. When you see it this way, envy becomes less about the other person and more about the prison architecture inside you. What rule are they breaking? Who taught you that rule? What did obedience to that rule cost you? You do not have to become like them. You do not even have to like them. But you can let their freedom reveal the place where yours has been negotiated away. For this reason, do not rush to purify envy into something pretty. Let it be sharp for a moment. Let it tell the truth badly before you translate it well. Shadow work is not about pretending your first reaction is enlightened. It is about staying present long enough to hear what the reaction is carrying. Envy is not proof that you are small. It is proof that something in you is asking to come back. The bitterness is not the truth. The desire underneath it is the signal. The person you envy may be annoying. They may be imperfect. They may not deserve the pedestal your pain put them on. But they still showed you something. The work is to take the projection back. To stop staring at their permission and begin practicing your own. The exiled self does not return all at once. It returns through one honest desire, one reclaimed quality, one small act of no longer pretending you do not want what you want. In the next episode, we go into anger, why some reactions feel too big for the moment, and what the anger may be protecting underneath. Subscribe so you do not miss it. And today, when envy appears, do not rush to shame it. Ask what door it is pointing toward.